Jury selection is underway for R. Kelly's trial in New York City, where hundreds of potential jurors are expected to appear before federal court. The 54-year-old R&B singer has been charged with racketeering based on sexual exploitation of children, kidnapping, forced labor, and transportation of women and girls across state lines for illegal sexual activity. Kelly has denied everything. Earlier, I joined CBS This Morning's interview with Asante McGee, who lived with Kelly in 2016 and now accuses him of abusing her and other women living in his home.
We spoke to you back in 2019. You said that you were literally terrified when you saw that interview that he did with Gayle King. Are you still terrified? Does it still bring about those emotions when you see him in court, when you hear his name?
It does. Whenever I hear his voice, I freeze up. I'm trying to get a little better because I am in counseling, but when I hear his voice, I am still terrified.
You say that you faced backlash because you did speak out. What has life been like for you since you went public with your story?
In the beginning, I did receive a lot of backlash. Till today, I still receive backlash, but I don't receive as much as I've done in the beginning, as much as I've received in the beginning. Right now, I'm just trying to live my life, take care of my family, and run both of my businesses, my nonprofit as well as my HVAC business.
Have you been interviewed at all by investigators, prosecutors here in New York for this case?
No, I have not.
Do you think that this will be different from the previous case back in 2008 when he was acquitted? Do you think this is a different time for him?
Yes, I do believe this is a different time for him, simply because of social media and then so many women coming forward and having so much more evidence than it was back in 2008.
Asante, it's Tony DeCopel. I'm curious what you would define as success or a positive outcome from where you're sitting with this trial. What do you want to see happen as jury selection begins today?
I just want the jurors to go in with an open mind to just really look at all the evidence that has been presented to everyone that brought the charges against him, as well as I want the jurors to think about if it's one of their daughters, mothers, or sisters, or just a close family member, a close friend, as they go through the jury selection and decide on his fate.
Asante, it's Vlad Dutier. What do you say to people who believe, as you used to, that because Robert has not been convicted of any crimes, that the accusations can't be true?
I had to learn that, I guess, for me, when I didn't believe the accusation was true back in 2008, because I couldn't believe that a juror would actually acquit him if they had so much evidence. But now actually experiencing it and knowing that it's not enough money in the world to get him off this case like he was able to get off the first case. And
one of the things that you've said is that it's easy for somebody to say that they would never let a man mistreat them or abuse them. But it's hard to leave when you don't recognize the early warning signs. Can you explain that for our viewers?
Yes. In the beginning, I was actually in a abusive marital situation, and so when I actually started dating Robert and living with him is when I started seeing the abuse, and because I was able to recognize the abuse sooner than later, I was able to escape. So for a woman, we might think it's grooming us, but when you have already been aware of a previous abusive relationship, then you start recognizing the symptoms a little earlier to just get out and not tolerate it.
Asante, I know you and many others said that you wanted to see R. Kelly get help, but he continues to deny all of these allegations. Do you see a world in which perhaps he may admit to any of the accusations against him?
Knowing the Robert that I've been knowing for a while, he would never admit because he sees no wrong in what he's done to us. But hopefully sooner than later, he will get the help that he needs. And soon, once he get the help, be able to recognize the hurt that he has caused, not only just me, but other women in the past.
Asante, I want people to understand the racketeering case that the jury is being seated for today. So the allegation from prosecutors is that R. Kelly ran a criminal enterprise by compelling his employees to help him abuse women. What was your experience in the context of that charge with his team, with those employees that he may have been directing?
Well, when I was actually with him, certain employees, they did move us around. Some of them agreed and some didn't agree with what he wanted them to do with us. But I guess because it was a paycheck, they did what they asked them to do, just to get a paycheck.
You know, Asante, he's been charged and acquitted of sex crimes before. Do you think that this time will be different?
Oh, definitely, yes. I do believe that he will actually be convicted of all the sex crimes that he's been accused of.
Well, Asante McGee, thank you so much for spending some time with us. We're glad to know that you're doing much better. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
And don't forget, you can stream CBS This Morning every weekday morning from 8 a.m. Eastern right here on CBSN.